Okay, step 4 of the business roadmaps approach is the long-term organizational model. So what we have done so far is we developed a business model and the 7 layers of strategy. They describe the present situation. We formulated a really specific, measurable ambition. That's the future. Where do you want to be in 5, 10 or 15 years? And so we have the start, we have the end point. So you could say we could connect those two by a roadmap. And what we have learned is that it is often difficult for an entrepreneur to bridge the gap between business model and 7 layers of strategy and ambition at once. So what we do, we place one step in between, and that is the long-term organizational model. And that model describes how your organization looks when you have achieved your ambition. And what is done in that model is the business model and the 7 layers of strategy are combined in that model, and you have to think about it like you have achieved your ambition. How does my company look at that time? Consists of several parts. The left-hand side of the model is the internal organization in the future of your company. The right-hand side is the external situation. How do you present yourself to the market? And at the bottom is your product, service, and your revenue model. So the internal organization is depicted with the number of employees that you have, the number of partners you are working with. Which structure does your company have? Do you have a lot of layers, or is it a flat structure? And what is your own role as an entrepreneur in the company? Really important. A lot of entrepreneurs get stuck in their own company. It's like a prison, and they can't get out of the role that they are in, where they want to come out of that role because they want to be not involved with operation anymore. They want to be an entrepreneur. They want to further evolve their company. So what is the role that you want to have? Right-hand side, external presentation of your company. Which are your customer segments? How does your marketing look? So what's your irresistible offer? Which channels do you use? And your strategy in one sentence. Once again, could really well be that the strategy in one sentence stays the same, but think about it. Does it stay the same or does it change? And in the bottom, we separate product and service. So what are your products and what is your service? You often see that companies start with a product, but they end up with a service. For example, a skincare company sells skincare products and evolves to a company that sells skincare products, but also offers knowledge in terms of workshops, maybe an online environment, and then they are offering also service. So we split those two on purpose. And what is your revenue model? How do you earn your money in the future? And what we like to see is that you have a really strong base in your revenues with subscriptions or something like that, and that you have some things that offer you additional revenue, maybe more volatile, but do offer additional revenues. And those things together are the long-term organizational model that helps the entrepreneur to depict his company, how it will look in the future, and that will make it easier to formulate the roadmap, which is the next and the last step in the business roadmaps approach.